Hello again. One of the things which I find quite terrifying is the way that newspapers and television channels in the West dictate the narrative about world affairs and people simply absorb it unquestioningly. For instance, for the last 2 months, newspapers and television news have been full of images of devastation caused to refugee camps and residential districts in Gaza and the surrounding area. We've seen many people wringing their hands and demanding a ceasefire, protest marches every week on the streets of London, international condemnation. Even the Pope and the United Nations have been expressing unfavourable opinions of Israel based upon what is happening. Why do I find this weird? Well, it's very simple. Before the Israelis began bombing Gaza and launching an invasion, Turkey began a series of airstrikes against Kurdish districts, including refugee camps in northern Syria and Iraq. Turkey seized parts of Iraq and Syria a few years ago, but nobody cared or even really noticed. There was so much going on that Turkey felt able to seize whatever territory it took a fancy to. Turkey, under Erdogan, is an expansionist power, and they're seeking to reclaim territory which was once under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The areas that they're after have many Kurds in them, and so Turkey wishes to conduct a spot of ethnic cleansing by driving out the Kurds using airstrikes on their villages and refugee camps. Ultimately, they'll probably bring Turkish settlers in the way they did in Cyprus. Turkey claims that these areas are currently run by a terrorist group, the PKK. Since the beginning of October, the airstrikes have intensified with 60 or 70 bombing raids a day. In the description to this video, I give one or two links about this business. Viewers might like to ask themselves one or two questions, such as, why haven't I heard about this? Why is this not front page news in the way that airstrikes against Gaza are? How come it's not even mentioned on the news at all would be another interesting question. Then you might like to ask yourself, how come I'm sympathising like mad with the plight of the Palestinians when I've never given a damn about the Kurdish refugees? That's interesting. Other questions which might occur to those watching this video are, am I a complete mug for allowing the mainstream media to decide which refugees I should feel sorry for and which I should simply ignore? And also, why have I not heard Turkey denounced for its policy of genocide against the Kurdish people? I seem to have missed all the protest marches in London about this and the headlines, and in fact, I don't think anyone really cares about all those Kurds being massacred, do they? The answer to all these questions are very simple. Turkey is a NATO member on the edge of the Black Sea, and particularly at the moment with the war in Ukraine, which is also taking place on the edge of the Black Sea, Turkey is a vital block to Russian expansion in that part of the world. We'll let Turkey get away with literally murder, provided they stay on our side against the Russians. Nobody wants to upset Turkey. Then too, the only disputes in the Middle East which are of interest to most people are those which involve Arabs and Jews, especially Jews. The Turks and Kurds don't fit into this neat framework because, of course, they're neither of them Arabs. Denouncing Jews as being racist and militaristic is fun because we can remember the Holocaust and then accuse them of acting like the Nazis, which is amusingly ironic. It simply doesn't have the same resonance when people carrying out the massacre are all Muslims. I can offhand think of half a dozen other such conflicts in the Middle East right this moment. But none of them are likely to be of interest to the average viewer because they don't involve Jews as the aggressor. Seriously, I would be very surprised to hear that a single person watching this video was aware that Turkey was, right now, carrying out airstrikes on refugee camps in the Middle East, as they have been for months. It's funny, no?